This is the after show for Crackle Startup, Season 1, Episodes 1 and 2. Stick with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Good looking.
What?
This man right here.
Hey.
His idea.
I got a coordinate.
I'm calling you up.
We're actually not even going to do a review of the show. We're just going to stand here and dance the whole time.
We're just gonna have a dance party at ODB.
I only have one move and I've used it, so
Let's see
if we
it.
could review.
I didn't see it. What's the move?
Well, I copied him when he kind of did this little like. Hey.
Is that your go-to move?
That's a safe move right there.
That's a
You
safe
can
move.
never go
You got a
wrong with
go-to
that.
move?
I do too.
What is it?
Hey,
Oh,
go body roll.
Yeah.
Get a body roll. You can. Body roll never gets old. That's
Never.
a
It
classic.
doesn't.
Never.
It is a classic.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the after show of Startup. I am your host, Josh Rodriguez. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_. I will let my panel introduce themselves.
I am Courtney Henderson. I am so excited to be here as well. You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Cohen, Couhen.
And I'm Kelli Boyt, and you can find me on Twitter as ChaosJ, KAOSJ, and you can find me on Instagram as Chaos_Oceans31. Oceans, why? Because your boy's so wavy.
Hey.
What's up, guys? My name's Christine Alexis. I am so pumped to be here on my first show. You can connect with me on Twitter and Instagram at Christine Bean. That's CHRISTIN, 3 E's, and Bean.
All right, there you go, guys. Well, we don't have much time, so let's jump right into it. The first scene of the series, basically, was a pretty intense one. Let's get into that. We're introduced to FBI agent, what's his name? Agent Phil Rask and Andrew Tallman, and there's a pretty big sex scene going on. Guys, what was your first thought?
Crackle? That was my first. Like, I've never seen a Crackle show before. This is my very first.
Yeah.
Quite the introduction.
Yeah.
I thought it was more family friendly, more PG than like HBO. So as a non-child, I was excited that it is more HBO.
Got it.
Not to compare, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you. What did you
For
think?
me, I was like, whoa! Say what? Can they really show that? I liked it.
Yeah.
But then again, that's me and I'm a man. And I was just like, wow. But I was like, wow, like they are not playing. Like they're going for the big guns. Like they're pulling out the big guns with this one. They're not just, oh, nice and sugar coated and, oh, we'll simulate this. And you just kind
Implied.
of, we'll just imply that there's something going on. No, this is what's happening. It's going down. And then he's going to sit there and tell him, yeah, I'll watch. It's cool. So, yeah, it shocked me, but it was a good shock. I liked it.
Nice. Christine, your thoughts?
Same. That completely caught me off guard. I was like, whoa, same. Guns blazing. I mean, it was pretty hot. And I like that they gave us all that at once. It kind of set the stage for...
Just hot talking about it.
I mean, I was a little hot and bothered myself. So definitely a great way to open the show.
Yeah.
Brand new show.
There was actually some substance to that scene as well. I mean, Phil Rask, he is an FBI agent, and he wants to make a deal with this criminal, basically, Andrew, to launder some money, $2.2 million. So right away we find out that Rask is a dirty cop. This guy, Andrew, is,
He does
criminal,
what he
basically.
does.
Well, I feel like he's trying to become a dirty cop.
Yes.
Like I feel like
get
this is
that.
his like first attempt, and I don't know. Throughout the episode, I feel like he's not doing so good. at it.
He's
Gotta-
not 100%
He's already.
there.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
fake it till you make it.
Hey, man, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Me personally, I thought that I don't know. I didn't really get that it was his first go round. But yeah, he definitely dropped the ball with the fact that, as we'll get into it, that, there were some things that he kind of missed or he didn't really follow through with in terms of his follow up and making sure that, things went in the order that he wanted them to go in.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still think Phil's low key kind of a gangster. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that. I think he's a sly gangster though, because he's a bully, but he's an unassuming bully because he's going to charm you first, and then he's going to just intimidate you and back you in the corner.
He has an awkward way
I don't think
of
he's charming at
interrogating.
all. I think he's awkward and creepy.
Yeah.
I feel the same. He
Like
puts you in
I
those,
don't think he's charismatic.
Yeah, he puts you in these like awkward positions where you're like, I'm sure. Like, I don't know how to respond to you.
Yeah,
and it's a weird form of intimidation. It's
incredible
interesting.
acting. I'm
Yeah.
loving
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
he's like, he makes me feel uncomfortable. And he's not even talking to me.
Yeah, I kind of get the same vibe from him. I mean, I can't even imagine what it was like being that girl naked.
Oh my god.
And I forgot
Not
what he
even
said, but
noticing?
he said something pretty vulgar.
He
like,
basically
Yes.
said, "Can a white man get a blowjob?"
yes, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Because he said, just go ahead and finish. And he said, people or men are more truthful right after they bust a nut.
Yes,
You know.
Oh my God.
yes.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's proven or not, but
I don't know.
so he
either.
says. So I guess we'll believe him, right?
We'll run with it.
All right, we'll move on. In the next scene, we got introduced to Izzy, who is the genius of this whole series. She's the inventor of GenCoin, which we will get into later. What are your first thoughts about her?
Hold on, real quick. I'm sorry. Can someone please address how we got introduced to Izzy?
Sex.
Bam. Okay. Now you may go, Courtney. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was going to say something along those lines. More words though. So I really liked her. I did think it was pretty ballsy that she was trying to kick him out of his house.
Right?
Yeah.
Get out.
Like
I
Like,
live here.
after costing him a $600 electric
Yeah.
bill.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what? I don't know, but I really like her as the episode, both episodes go on. I'm really excited to watch her as well.
Yeah.
And really love where the character's going. And with the little clips they give us that kind of give like a little bit of character backstory, it's really fun to kind of learn more about her as an actress playing the character and kind of what she's bringing to it and who the character is to her. So
Yeah.
Thoughts, guys?
Definitely. Izzy's going to be one of my favorites, hands down. I like that she's rough around the edges, but at the same time, I can tell that she does have a heart, and I'm hoping somebody's going to snag it throughout this series.
I think it's gonna be Nick.
I was going to say.
Right?
It's definitely gonna be
but
Nick. There's
Nick
a
has a
love
woman
story.
though. Nick
I
has a
don't want
woman
that.
though.
You don't want
I
that?
don't, I don't believe she's
No.
first of all, I don't believe his girl is genuine. And
Oh, really? You got that vibe?
Speak on the girl. Speak.
yeah, I mean, there was a scene where she was up early, like reading some stuff. It looked like some of his personal information. And then when he got back, she's like, "Oh, when did you get in?" And she was clearly already up before
two different
him.
girls.
Oh, there's two different
Really?
girls. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Wait, which?
No. You're talking about the new agent. She was the one
Gotcha.
reading the
Oh, okay.
files with the
Okay.
bangs.
I was
look
like, you,
very
which is
similar.
actually
who
who
I'm-
caught something that I
Which
didn't
is
get.
actually who I'm looking up
Slight
right now.
misstep.
Okay. So
No, it took me a second. I was like, is that his girlfriend?
Yeah, because they cut it so weird at first. I was like, wait a minute. Is she like spying on him? I can't tell. But sorry to cut you
okay,
off.
no, by all means. I like that we kind of just cut each other off, but we're cool. I like this. No, like I was saying, she's rough around the edges, but she's got some heart. She's got heart in both ways. You know, she's got the tender heart. Oh my God, love. And then she's also got that, heart like I'm not going to stop until I get what I want and I get what I need. Yeah, I definitely see a lot of good stuff coming from her. But yeah, I think she's a gangster. And I'm going to probably drop that word a lot this series. 'Cause there's quite a few people that I just feel like they are bringing some heat.
Literally and figuratively, as far as the characters go.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
there are.
I mean, because I thought, as we'll get into it, and I don't want to jump ahead, but, with her pitch that she has later coming up, she was just kind of a boss. Like, she went in there and I felt like she commanded their attention. She commanded them to listen to her and say, look, like, if you guys aren't up on this, you're missing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to regret it.
Yeah.
And I loved that he's always just Adam Brody to me, but
Same.
Adam, like we're best friends, like we just know each other and talk all the time. Call me. No, it's his wife that I'm really good friends with. So I'm just kidding. Anyways, so that he was like, she doesn't know how to sell herself, but what she's got is awesome.
Yeah.
Right, he saw something.
And that he wanted to take money, bad money, and use it for good.
Right, and we'll get into that now.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll introduce Nick, who's Andrew's son. Andrew, from what you guys remember, is the guy who's laundering the money. I guess our first impressions of him, we see that he keeps getting a missed call from his father. And I couldn't tell if he was ignoring it or he was like, I get it back to me. It was kind of like weird.
Yeah.
But you see that his relationship with his father is not the best relationship at all. So
Yeah.
he seems like a good guy, right?
Which one,
Andrew-
Nick or the dad?
Nick.
Nick.
Oh, Nick.
yes.
I mean, I don't think the dad's a bad guy either.
Really?
I mean, just because he he launders money doesn't mean he's a bad guy. He has a job that, you know, assists people that aren't necessarily the best people, but I don't think his dad's a bad guy.
Well, Nick also mentions that he's seen his father fly mistresses around the country.
Which is who I think that girl in the opening scene was.
Was a mistress? Okay.
I
Well,
also
it didn't look like Adam's mama.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also pretty shady that he wasn't really upfront with Nick about what he needed him to do with the money. He was just like take this for me, but then like skips town. I mean, that's pretty shady.
Yeah.
And but I definitely, my first impressions of Nick is that I think he has a good heart. You can tell he seems pretty like unsure of himself, but trying to stick by this like moral code and do right and not be involved with what his dad's doing, but reluctantly kind of gets pulled in. So
Right. All right, well, and we'll fast forward a little bit. Izzy gets kicked out of the apartment we had mentioned. She goes to her parents' house, which to me is hilarious. I mean, I'm Puerto Rican, so I don't have that kind of the same family dynamic, but similar. And those scenes made me laugh. Her mother's hilarious, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
oh my god,
Wow, her mom is very intense.
Yes.
Very.
it gave me like PTSD a little. My mom can be intense sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, yelling the same kind of way.
Can I?
Yeah, what?
Okay. So, I liked that they gave you know, her mom didn't quite understand what she does.
Yes.
Which also goes into a lot of the conflict and miscommunication that they have. But the one thing is where she was talking about, you know, the sacrifices she made so she could go to Stanford.
Oh my god.
And I had to write it down. Like, I had to pause it and put the subtitles on. She said, I let that Molly poppin' key rat come inside me for a year so I could build an algorithm for GenCoin. So don't lecture me about sacrifice. Boom.
Mic drop.
Mic drop
Mic drop.
again.
This
I
was
was
a
like,
mic.
wow.
There you go.
Like,
I can't drop
first
this
off, how do you even say that in front of your dad, let alone say that to your mom?
Seriously, she had
but-
balls.
But at the same time, I was like, you're right. Like, she does know all about some sacrifice, because
Right.
you could see from the opening scene when he's just going at it, he's going to town, she's not there at all.
Yeah.
You know,
that
and
was the first thing I noticed about her.
yeah, not
that
there
you
at
say
all.
that.
And then he even calls it out. He says, you know, like, you don't really like me. You're just using me. You're pretending to like me to get what you need because you're a
Right.
user. And that's what you do. And, you know, it's going to speak to her character. We're going to see a lot of more of that with, you know, her, you know, starting to probably open up to, you know, probably first off Nick. But yeah, man, I mean, that was a cold-blooded scene right there when she dropped that line on her mom. I was like, what do you say after that? You just kind of just like, you know what? I'm going to have a seat.
That's the beauty of television. Cut, end scene, next scene.
Yeah.
You don't have to. They don't have to figure out what comes next.
Right.
In that scene.
If I remember, they were pretty speechless after.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
kind of just like
Mhm.
stormed out, and they were like,
Stunned.
Well, then she
Well,
does.
okay.
She does mention that she has a very important meeting the next day, which so happens to be with Nick's.
Yes.
I guess is it bank or firm?
It was a bank.
It's a bank.
Valencia.
Okay, with Valencia, and she ends up pitching this idea of GenCoin, which is a lot like Bitcoin,
right.
and
It's nothing like Bitcoin if you ask her.
right. So what would she say?
I mean, is that
What
like
was
PayPal?
And, oh my gosh, I love that.
Just like, it's,
Well, I
it's
don't-
different like PayPal.
I don't know a lot about Bitcoin, so if anybody understands truly
I-
Bitcoin,
Christine has something
okay.
about-
I
Bitcoin.
actually
Please
Googled it
explain what that
because
is.
shamelessly I had no idea what a Bitcoin is. But according to Google, it is digital currency in which encryption techniques are used to regulate the generation of units of currency and verify the transfer of funds operating independently of a central bank. It's an individual to individual form of currency.
Yes.
So it sounds like the major difference, based on that definition in how she's explained GenCoin thus far, this is untraceable and unregulated.
Right. Has nothing to do with the government.
And I don't know about Bitcoin, but it's any nation's currency can be like,
Right.
and I'm sure
Right.
Bitcoin is the same way, but I don't know if it has to be transferred into, like what's the word I'm looking for?
Exchange.
Thank
their
you. Like
currency.
exchange,
Yeah.
yeah. Like exchange at the currency rate to like a US dollar and then put
Right.
in or
Yeah, no,
how
I think
that
it's
works.
its own
Right.
entity. It's literally its own entity within itself.
Right.
So it's its own currency. So it's not affected by anything economical that's going on in the world.
Right, and you put your value on it. The way Nick explained it to his girlfriend was a bottle of wine. You know, let's just agree that this is 1,000, I
Yeah.
guess, coins or whatnot. And it's just the value that you place on it.
It's almost like bartering. Like
That's exactly what it is.
that's what I thought
That
of
is
when
the word for
when
it.
I saw that.
Yes.
I mean, the thing with like Bitcoins, it's based on math, not silver or gold. That's where that value aspect comes in. And I'm assuming the same thing with GenCoin. It's you define what the value is behind it. And it's decentralized. It's not tied to any institution or person or someone controlling it. You control it.
And I love that it's all through a cell phone, and just the stats that they were giving, which I'm sure are accurate or were at the time of filming or writing, but that it's something that person in this country that has no access to a regulated bank that you could trust putting your money in, they have the internet, so they have access to the same money or currency that we all do, so that it will potentially increase commerce and
put everybody on the level playing field.
A true free market in that sense. A true free market.
So in the meeting, Valencia, they don't look impressed.
No one's interested.
They're like,
but Nick sees something. See, I couldn't tell if Nick saw, a way to get his father out of trouble, or if he actually saw an investment opportunity.
Right.
And he tells, Izzy, I really believe in you, but I still don't know his intentions. I don't know if he really does believe in her. What do you guys think?
100% believes in her.
Okay,
and I'm going to go ahead and agree. Not only does he 100% believe in her, but I feel like as she was explaining it, not only was he thinking like, oh, wow, like I might be able to use this to help my dad, but at the same time, I felt like he was looking at this could be something that I can get in on the ground floor, and that can be, the out that he wanted. Because if you remember at the very beginning, when he gets home, and I'm guessing it's his, his girl, and then I'm not sure who that other guy was. I don't know if it was her dad or whoever.
Her father.
Okay, so it was her dad, right? So then, he was saying they said something about him wanting to start his own thing.
A microloan business.
Yes.
Exactly.
Which is why I think he's 100% in, because it's along those lines of helping people that, to an extent, can't help themselves with the way the world has changed because they're in this third world country.
Exactly.
So that's why I thought he was 100%. I honestly don't think it has anything to do with his dad.
Okay.
I don't think he cares. I don't think he's trying to help his dad at all. I think he's in anything relating to his dad, trying to use the money to then say, "Look, Dad, I can do something legitimate
with what you're doing."
Yeah, right. I can do something legitimate to make ends meet in a great way, potentially like a hugely, like a huge rewarding way, down the road. You don't have to do what you do to make it.
Got
Right. That's a good perspective.
That's what I thought.
Christine, you think the same?
I agree. I think Nick's very legit. I think he's invested. I don't think that he would be going to the lengths that he's gone to with Izzy thus far if he wasn't really truly invested. And I think it speaks to how I view him and how I think he views himself as someone who's trying to do the right thing. And for all those reasons, like doing something legitimate, being different from his father. I mean, they have similarities in the way that they're moving money, but just for different reasons and altogether.
Okay. And they introduce us to another character, Ronald. Now, at this point, I'm like getting confused because there's so many characters being thrown at us. I'm like, what is going
First
on
episode.
here?
Yeah, exactly.
I had to keep notes myself. Like,
actually, that just made me realize they didn't name it Pilot, which is traditional.
Yeah.
You didn't.
Seed money, so I like that.
I never even thought of that. But Ronald, my first impressions of Ronald, he seemed like a really cool family man. Like he was, interacting with his kids. He loves his wife. The way he was stealing the food, I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh!
And then all of a sudden, he walks outside and he goes,
"He's in a whole different world.
What's going on, man?"
It's like 180. This is actually who I really am.
So everybody, first impressions on Ronald.
See, I think it's interesting you say that. This is who I really am. I feel like it's the reverse. Who he really is the family man.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of like, it's like jumping so far ahead, but talking to his son, he's trying to get them out of having to do what he's doing.
That's what he's kind of forced to do.
He only does it as much as he has to. And
Give me some. Yes.
Anytime.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where it's easy to sit back, us, and say, well, I mean, does he really have to? You always have a choice, which you do, but
sometimes given your environment and your circumstances, you don't, your choices are limited.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely don't hold it against him. Can I take the ball?
Yeah.
Okay,
go
cool.
for it.
So I'm not gonna use it, although I've already used it a few times. But basically, he's hardcore,
a gangsta
all day. I mean, he's a G. And I think he does a pretty good job, at least right now, from what we've seen, of maintaining that balance of being a family man and trying to guide and lead his children down the right path, which is not the path that he's currently on. But he does what he needs to do to provide and protect his family. So, I mean, I'm Team Ronnie all day.
I like Ronald a lot.
I'm definitely Team Ronnie all day. I'm looking forward to talking about some other things. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass the ball to you.
I love Ronnie. I mean, even though you see this dual side of him being a gangster, like you pointed out, and also a family man, I do appreciate that about him. Also have a weird tie to him because he's Haitian and I'm Haitian.
Hey!
So, yeah. So I felt that personal connection to watching it because I was like, whoa, what if this was like my uncle or someone? But aside from that personal tie, I think he's a good guy. I'm really excited to see how his character grows and I believe his circumstance and where his family lives and where they are has kind of maybe forced him to do the things that he does. So I want to see how, if their environment changes, if other things will pressure him to bring out that gangster side or be the family man. I don't know, but I feel a lot of depth in his character, and I really want to see his character progress over the season.
Yeah, I made my mind up about Ronald when, he told the crew basically not to kill their prisoner. I was like, all right, this guy has a heart. He's not, really in it to kill people. He's a gangster, but he's not like ruthless, if that makes any sense. So when that happened, I was like, I like this guy. I like him a lot. But they ended up killing the guy anyway, which was kind of messed up.
I know.
Right after he walked away, though, it was like, he did like the eye roll.
Okay, so that was one of my favorite parts.
Yeah.
Where he's got the French toast. Now this is just me. Now I would never eat French toast without syrup.
Yeah, that's weird. But he said the syrup was in there.
Right.
I think she cooked it. He said something with the syrup being on it.
All I know is that he said that it would melt in your mouth, and the dude was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Now, you've been dragged from who knows where, beat up, roughed up. I mean, you're tied to a chair with barbed wire. If somebody's offering me a piece of toast, French toast, can I have a bite, please? And can I have something to wash it down with? Because that piece of French toast at that moment to me looked so good. And I could have just been hungry. I don't know, but I would not have turned down that piece of French toast.
I don't know if I would have trusted it.
No. I mean, he was eating it. I mean, and then he even reheated it. And he was, so I was just like, no, it's all good. I would have definitely taken that. Now, he said something that I was like, whoa, when he was like, he said something along the lines of like, if you don't tell me what I want to know, I'm gonna burn that junk off and eat it, and I'm gonna burn your junk off and eat it instead. And I was like, whoa, time out, whoa.
Pause.
Did you just say that you were gonna burn off this man's junk and eat it? Like, out of all things you can eat, the last thing I would ever want to eat is another man's junk. Just not rare, not cooked, not tartare, like
Right.
that. Yeah, no, not at all. Again, just to jump back, I felt like he's hard, but he's also compassionate and he's reasonable, and he wants to do things differently. And I felt like had they listened to him and not killed that guy after he said not to, we would see a different outcome later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I dig that. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because we're really pressed for time.
Let's do it.
So basically, Nick and Izzy, they get lunch. He gives her the money. She hides the money on her computer and all that good stuff.
I love how he wanted her to hide it in a real bank. Like at first, like she's like, seriously? Like you know what this thing does? And anyway, I found that kind of like ironically funny.
Very naive.
But Ronald's money ends up going missing. He goes to visit Andrew, who works at the bank, and he's not there. So Ronald freaks out and ends up meeting Nick. I guess accidentally. I don't know if he knew Nick was going to be there. Was that Nick's father's house or was that Nick's house?
Nick's house.
Nick's house.
Oh, it was
No.
Nick's?
No, because his girl wasn't there.
That's what I thought.
And the house was all torn up, remember?
Right, I thought it was the father's
That
house.
was his dad's house.
All right, let's just say house.
True. I think it was his dad's house.
It was his
because
dad's
then
house.
he was like, what do you want? Like,
Because that becomes the neutral
right.
meeting ground.
Right, yes.
it is.
So
Oh, okay.
they meet. So
because he locks the door and then turns and he's.
I guess, and Nick was going to look for his father, and
Right.
ends up seeing Ronald.
That's right.
Episode ends with Nick trying to run and Ronald just basically being a gangster.
Pretty much.
The next episode opens up with Nick in a trunk. Ronald lets him out.
A little different than sex.
A lot different than sex.
I think I skipped the sex scene, by the way, with Agent Rask in the shower.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
apologize.
That was the
You
one.
did
Oh my
skip
God,
it, and
that
I
was
wanted to talk about
crazy.
that because that's something else. Just real quick, I'm gonna keep this super short.
You got it.
Okay, so Phil. So he goes to his what used to be his house. His estranged wife is there, and then they exchange a few words. Next thing you got this hot, steamy sex scene.
Yep.
But then at the end of post coitus, at the end, he's saying like, look, why don't we start over? It won't take that long for me to move my stuff back in.
And she's like,
if
yes.
you want me to quit, right? She's all
Yes.
for it.
And then
and then he's like, if you want me to quit, I'll quit. We can travel the world. Boom, boom, boom. Now, I also feel like, okay, you're proposing let's travel the world.
Right.
That's because you got this money coming in
Yes.
because of that blackmail that you just set up.
Yep.
Which is why I thought it was his first time. Because if it was really about getting money to take her around,
Right.
and he was already doing that, then they already would have been doing that.
Right.
That's the only reason I thought it was
What
the
I
first.
did not get was then when he said, look, why don't you call off your dog? She got so upset. But it's like, if he's trying to get you guys back together, why are you upset that he wants you to call off the lawyers? You're not going to need the lawyers if you guys are going to work things out.
Right.
So I just felt like that shows us that that's going to be an issue, and that's going to be a weakness for him. Is his estranged wife, and trying to rekindle that flame and get things going. I'm gonna throw it to you, and then I know you got to go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm curious to know why they split up in the first place, and if that'll be a sort of like
Which is
recurring.
probably
Yeah,
why
we'll
the
get into
lawyers are still involved.
Right. I mean,
That reason is
it's still
connected,
unclear. So
I think.
I'm super curious to know.
And we do know he has a temper problem. Boom. It's
Yes.
all you, Josh.
We'll
Let's
get into
go.
that later too.
Let's get it.
All right. So basically, Ronald takes Nick out the trunk. Basically, I want to kill you, and Nick's like, I have your money.
yeah.
Cut scene. We're at Andrew's house, Nick's father's house, and he calls over Izzy, and Izzy pitches
What
GenCoin
like a jerk move though? Like
from Nick.
yeah, like
Well, his life was on the line. I mean,
but like come
he's
get
like,
involved and
yeah.
like show your face.
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I
okay.
don't know.
I get what you're saying, but when your life's on
No,
the
no,
line,
no.
that,
I
Yeah.
see both, but it was just like
And she was
Really
the one that was
did.
going to be able to validate that the money was where he was saying it
yes.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, she knows a lot more than he does. So then she
but
comes.
to not warn her, I guess. I don't know.
Okay,
Not
that's
that
true.
she would have
I see what
come.
you're saying.
He was
Not
thinking
that she
about
would have
himself
come.
Yeah.
in that moment.
almost like
his-
almost like setting her up.
his
Yeah, he
threshold for
totally
pain.
set her up. She walks
Yeah.
in the door and there's a guy sitting with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you getting into?
I was gonna say his threshold for pain looks pretty small. Like as soon as he got like super intimidated, he was
I
like,
got a
okay,
gun.
I have the money.
I'm
like,
surprised it took him
let's
that
talk this
long.
out.
Yeah.
I know. I thought he was gonna like piss himself.
Spider in the
Sorry,
shower.
Adam
Spider
Brody.
in the shower. Can't.
Yeah, his character's kind of
But-
soft, but
Yeah.
No, but I love that he's like, just give him the money. She's
Right.
like, wait a second. No,
Yeah.
no. He invested your money for
Right.
you.
yeah.
And Ronald's like, no, I want cash.
But
And if you
that-
don't get me my $300,000, I'm going to kill you.
In 24 hours.
Yeah,
Straight
in
up,
24
though.
hours.
And that
24
leads us
hours?
to
The montage?
boom. Let's get it. Let's
Yeah.
A
go.
montage. What song was being played? I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up for next
I don't
time.
know. But that was later in the episode. But yeah, so they
yeah.
basically try to gather up $300K, and they can't do it. They go from bank to bank, taking out, withdrawing.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
drawing.
We're
She put
drawing-
him into
Right, so
routing,
like
but
8,000 here,
Yeah.
10,000 here. They got a couple from like 80,000 from her friend, the guy.
right.
Yeah, they converted the
Who had his
GenCoin.
like whole
Right.
thing like locked
Right.
up.
Right.
And he was actually low because usually he had more money, but it had been a busy month. So just
Right.
the fact that you have this dude that just has that much money just on hand and just say, here, boom, front you, I got you.
Right. And then I'll just finish off the episode, and we'll get into the details in between. I just want to make
Cool.
sure we get to the ending. So basically, Ronald says, "No, I want to invest."
Well, I love he's like sitting in
But
the
that's
bathroom.
after they
Right.
do all that running around, which I would have
Yeah.
been a little salty.
Yeah.
Like, bro, did you know what I just went through to get you
But
that
only
half?
get you half though. So
Yeah.
Right. Hey, it was a
To
good
buy
gesture.
more time though. I'm
Good
like,
gesture. That's what she
I
said.
thought even the 80 grand, like, because that was what we saw first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, that might buy them another day. Like, look, we're working our butts off to get this for you.
Yes.
But they got half, and
Right.
then they
And then
didn't-
Ronald's like,
they
"No,
didn't
I
meet
want
it.
to be a partner
But-
with you."
Didn't you guys see that coming?
Yeah. Yeah, but still, it's still cool.
I mean,
Oh
well,
no,
yeah,
I'm not saying.
yeah.
I mean,
we
they
did
had
see
to
it
show
coming,
it.
but then when they show him sitting on the toilet and he's looking up GenCoin,
Yeah.
Right.
and and mind you, he's looking for a way to get out.
Right.
He doesn't want to keep living that lifestyle.
Right.
So
And I was about to mention the shootout that happened, and I think that's a big reason why he wanted to be a partner with Nick and Izzy.
Not even just the shootout, but the whole kind of riot situation that happened after with all the gangsters and Little Haiti in Miami, and they were like, you know, someone messes with us, we're gonna come back full force, like responding to that shooting.
You kill one of ours, we'll kill 10 of yours.
Exactly. I think in that moment, Ronald realized, like, okay, this is only gonna get worse. I need to get myself out of this situation. And I think his out was investing in GenCoin, because that was the one legitimate thing in his life. It's either the gun violence or try and, you know, work something else out.
Yes, and also almost seeing his son get killed. I think that's what put it really over the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think his son's gonna play a big part in this season. I don't know, like, if anything tragic is gonna happen, but I feel like he's gonna have a big role later on. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the episodes after episode 2, but I haven't. Have you?
No, I haven't. But
right, cool.
I agree with your sentiment for the simple fact that it wasn't necessarily easy for Ronald to talk his son out of running out to go fight. He seems, you know, a bit combative.
Yeah.
It took a lot, and I think that definitely speaks to what he'll probably do later.
Cool. Also, some character development with Agent Rask. I mean, they show him get into a car accident.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting scene.
That's why, like, it's those kinds of things, right? Like, the awkward and creepy.
Yeah.
Well, and when he was at the bank, and he's like, you're just doing your job, right? Right? You're just doing your job?
So weird.
Like, that kind of stuff.
So
I'm like,
weird.
Just, and it's one of those, like, it just makes you a little uneasy.
Yeah.
And I skipped this in the first episode, but his interrogation of Nick in Nick's office.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. That made me physically uncomfortable.
And then at the end when he's like,
uncomfortable.
so we'll go fishing. It's like, yeah, we will. We
Wait,
will.
what? What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
like
you have time.
he's like, oh no, I mean, we'll go.
Yeah.
We'll totally. I mean, but you work a lot because you haven't taken vacation in 7 years. Definitely.
But that's what I loved about that, where it's like, I'm watching that whole
But
encounter.
that's him being a bully. But I still thought that even though you guys say he's awkward and creepy, I still thought at first he kind of gets you because he just seems like a normal dude.
Yes.
And then he starts talking and you kind of you let your guard down and then bam, he gets you.
See,
So
the first scene we see him in, well, no, I guess it's like, what, the third? He walks in on people having sex and just goes to sit down.
Well, that's the first thing we saw, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's like,
Very brazen.
yeah, like, this is not your normal dude.
He's very,
So,
very weird.
Yeah.
anyway.
I mean, we kind of flew through the second episode because we're cut for time, but before we get into predictions, does anybody have, like, general sentiment of, you know, the show so far, the series?
Way better than I thought.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't have a lot of expectation. Not that I had low expectations. I didn't know what to think because, like I said, this is my first Crackle show. Really impressed with the acting. I actually worked on a movie that one of the girl that you thought was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I knew that they were different because I'm like,
Gotcha.
that's Jocelyn, isn't it? And I had to look it up. I'm like, it was Jocelyn. I win. But no, the actors that they picked are exceptional. The writing, everything looks good. And I think that kind of speaks a little bit to the fact that the same person wrote and directed
Everything.
and was producing. You know,
Yeah.
there's something about, and it doesn't always work, but being able to really focus in and have creative control of your vision.
Yeah.
And in this case, I think that we're really in for a treat because of that.
Yep.
So, we'll see.
yeah, definitely agree. This show, I wasn't sure what to expect from Crackle. I'm familiar with it, but I've never really paid attention to it, nor have I ever really watched any of their original content. But this show gave me a whole newfound respect for Crackle because I'm like, this show is legit.
What else are they doing?
Exactly. I'm just like,
I don't got no time. I gotta watch stuff.
let me sign up for my account, and I'm about to start spending a lot of hours on Crackle, not just checking out Startup.
Shout out to Crackle.
But
Right?
the show
Thank you,
was
Adam Brody.
great. The
That's
show
how
was
I
great.
have
The
it.
writing was great. The acting was great. The production quality, it was legit. It wasn't
Yeah.
cheesy. It wasn't hokey. And this show was something that I'm locked in now. And I'm definitely gonna I'm almost sad that I can watch all the episodes at my leisure or my convenience because I'm going to end up binging and watching all of them, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, because I'm gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wait at least 9 months before we get another one,
Yeah.
or longer before we get a second season. Hopefully there is a second season because it is so good.
There will be. There
Come on,
absolutely
guys,
will be.
don't do us like that. We need a second season.
All day, Team Crackle.
Christine,
right
your
here.
thoughts?
Right?
I'm with the rest of the panel.
Yeah.
I was really pleasantly surprised. I, too, have never watched a show on Crackle, but this totally got me interested in checking out their other original content. I think it's really well done. Definitely not cheesy, because, I mean, knowing the premise of the show going into it, I expected them all to just buddy up within the first episode.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, then the storyline's kind of cheap. Like, where does it go from there? I like the build and the different twists and turns they took before they all got together, because it feels authentic now and it feels like they have a purpose together, and I'm invested. I want to know what happens.
And the one thing I will say, that the trailer for the show did not do it justice.
Yes, I
So
agree.
if you're here and you're watching, it's because you saw the 2 episodes, so you're hopefully hooked like we are.
Yeah.
Get your friends to watch episode
Yes.
1. Don't show them the trailer for the show.
Yeah.
It did not do it justice at all.
If I could say anything, is just if you don't know, Crackle is free. You
Yes.
can download
Yes.
it on Android. You can download it on your iPhones for iOS.
You don't
can
even have
download
to have
it
a
on your computer.
login.
You
Yeah,
really
that's the
don't. You
best
can just
part.
watch it. But
Yes.
if you want to have a login, then you can save where you are. You can make a list like, oh, I want to watch this later.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't beat what you're going to get when you sign up or you tune into Crackle. So after Buzz, we are all Team Crackle here on this
Yes.
panel. Thumbs up. There was a great show. And
Yeah.
we're locked in, and hopefully you'll be locked in and you'll be staying tuned and check us out so we can all talk about it.
Crackle, that is your endorsement right there.
Right?
That is
Boom.
your
You see
spokesperson
what I
right
did there?
there.
You see what I did there?
Commercials, hashtag Team Crackle. That is your guy right
Love
there.
it.
Commercials right there. That's the audition. I think he nailed it. So let's get into predictions really quick, guys, before we head out.
Your
is.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I'm going to state the very, very obvious here. Obviously, there's other people who are owed a lot of money. And I
Yeah.
think episode after episode is going to be, all right, Gangsta A trying to get their money back and then fighting off Gangsta B. I mean, I know it's crazy, guys.
My mind is getting
Guys,
blown.
I know it's insane. But
It's a good
that's
thing.
what I think is gonna happen. But I also want to say that I think Izzy's mom is gonna be really funny throughout the whole series. And like I said before, I think Ronald's son's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna get shot, but I do think he might end up turning, and Ronald's gonna have to,
Make a choice.
make a choice between his son or.
That'll be tough.
Yeah.
He's going to have to mix, the 2 worlds.
Yep.
Ooh, I don't like that prediction.
Sorry, Courtney.
My 2 predictions are, her name was Maddie, that he meets, oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name?
Rask.
Thank you, Rask, FBI agent. I think she's gonna kind of end up looking into him a little bit.
Yes.
Like, he's so insistent about this one Andrew Tolman guy kind of a thing, so she's gonna kind of get curious about that, and so he's gonna have her on his tail. And then I think that I like what you said about the whole more people are gonna come looking for
Right.
money.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're able to fund,
Yes.
they're able to get investors and fund it and get it going enough to make that sort of happen.
Got it. Kelly.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of character growth. We're going to see a lot of arcs. We're going to see a lot of different changes, and I think the action is just going to get that much more intense. The chase is going to be on between them and Phil, and then there's going to be that chase with the gangsters.
Yep.
Boom.
I think that Agent Rask is going to be a huge thorn in their side this entire season.
Yes.
While they're trying to get 2 steps ahead, he's just always going to be even more ahead of them. And it's going to be like a cat and mouse. That's my prediction. So,
All right, well, there we go, guys. Thanks for watching the AfterBuzz TV after show of Startup on Crackle. I am Josh Rodriguez. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_.
Courtney Henderson, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Cohen, Couhen.
Kelli Boyt, you can find me on Twitter as ChaosJ, KAAOSJ, and Instagram as Chaos_Oceans31, because I am so wavy.
and I'm Christine Alexis. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Christine Bean with 3 E's.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.